The National Health Insurance Bill before PC on Health will also be finalized on the 8th of March. And the next slide, number 5, we also wish to report the Transport Appeal Tribunal Amendment Bill before PC on Transport that has since been finalized. And also slide number 9 and 10, we also wish to report that the Marine Pollution before PC, Marine Pollution, Prevention of Pollution from Ships Amendment Bill before PC on Transport has also been finalized. Slide number 10. On this slide, the South African Post Bank Limited Amendment Bill before PC on Communications and Digital Technologies has also been finalized. Then on slide number 13, the repeal of the Transkeian Penal Code Bill before PC on Justice and Correctional Services has been finalized as well. On slide number 16, we wish to report that there's a new referral. Slide number 16, we wish to indicate 16 and 17, the budget instruments as they were tabled yesterday, Madam Speaker, for information. Then the next slide will be on slide number 18, rather. On this slide, we also want to report that there's a new referral, a letter dated 30th January on the vacancies that were created on the South African Human Rights Commission. This is before the PC on Justice and Correctional Services, and the committee must still table or get its program on the matter. Then on slide number 19, Madam Speaker.
Yes,
yes. Thank you, Madam Speaker. We also have the matter, the Section 194 Inquiry Committee. We have also reported here as well that the committee has revised its program so that it will finalize its work on the 21st of April. The next reporting slide will be slide number 20. Okay, sorry, Madam Speaker, slide number 21 and 22. On these two slides, Madam Speaker, we wish to report that in the last meeting, we undertook to give a list of all the portfolio committees and all the committees of Parliament that have been that are required to report on the implementation plan on the Zondo Commission report. Here, Madam Speaker, we have highlighted the portfolio committees under the NA House Chairperson. We have suggested with the Honorable House Chairperson an approach on how these committees could carry out the aspects as were referred to them. We have suggested, Madam Speaker, that the aspects that were reported on as per the referred report, that those aspects be included as part of the committee's programs, as well as those relevant committees request approval from the House Chairperson in dealing with those matters. And on a quarterly basis, each and every committee then reports on its work done in response to the recommendation. And a consolidated report rather be submitted to the office of the House Chairperson in response or to give effect to all the recommendations that are highlighted in the report. That was our suggestion, as well as mindful of the fact that this is the last year before the elections, Madam Speaker. All the work that has not been finalized, the work be carried over to the committee's legacy reports, and then the committees of the 7th Parliament continue with the work as suggested. And this brings me to the end of my report. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Kiba. Honorable members, that was the report from the committee section, which deals with bills before us, but also the work of the State Capture Commission, which is before us. And I now invite, I see two hands, Honorable Mkalipi, followed by Honorable Chief Whip of the Opposition.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I just want to get a clarity on the last item on the presentation in regards to those committees that are affected by the Zondo Commission. If I was listening attentively, the recommendation is that the chairs of chairs must approve. So what is the time frame that is given to the committees? The second point, there are bills such as Bela, which is on progress. Can you get an update on those bills? What is the status? And then so we can advise our members accordingly. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kalipi. Honorable Chief Whip of the Opposition.
Speaker, yes, thank you. On the specific matter again that was raised at the end of that presentation, I did receive some concern from my members on SCOPA about, you know, whether or not the referral that has happened with their committee indicates that somehow they're going to be looking at some of the progress of the various committees. So Ms. Giba did almost provide the clarity, but I want to be sure that each and every committee is going to do its own work in terms of processing the recommendations and reporting directly to the chair of chairs. And that report, that quarterly report, will then be either presented at the Rules Committee or here in the Programming Committee. I think despite Member Roto's assertion, this committee has actually a lot of powers. So I would like to get some clarity on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kwahube. Honorable Mente.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, my question is also in line with what the Chief Whip of the day is asking, pertaining to the reports of the Zondo Commission referred to SCOPA. And the manner in which they are referred to SCOPA is very problematic, in a sense that SCOPA is going to be a big brother of the other committees. The guideline as it is, in terms of the briefing letter from the chair of chairs and from the Department of Parliament, which is dealing with these cases, is very worrisome. SCOPA is a committee of parliament with members that get paid the similar amount to the other members. It's not playing a supervisory role to other committees. That has to be looked into. And number two, in terms of the parliamentary role and where the Zondo Commission report is concerned, it has to be straightforward and on what matters are being followed, for what reasons are they being followed, because SCOPA is a public accounts committee, and as things stand, it has a lot of work, but it cannot be forced by Parliament to play a supervisory role of other committees. That's not the role of SCOPA. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mente. Honorable members, I hope you've noted that the matter raised by Honorable Mente that the SCOPA is not a super committee. It is not different from other committees. It also conducts oversight work, but that it cannot conduct oversight work on other there's a hand of Mr. Frolick. Honorable Frolick, Chair.
No, good morning,
Chair.
Speaker, and good morning, colleagues. Speaker, just to say that I've not heard about these concerns raised by the individual chief whips now from the chairperson of SCOPA. I am due to meet with him to discuss other issues as well, but I will interact with him on the matter to get the take of the committee, because that's our line of communication with the chairperson of the committee. And then secondly, in terms of the consolidated reporting, it will be quarterly reports that we are expecting from the committees based on the extent also of the work and recommendations that has been referred to them. And of course, these are public documents, and these documents can find its way. It will be reported on the official parliamentary papers. And if the Rules Committee want to pay attention to it, of course, that's the prerogative of the presiding officers to see how they fit it into the agenda of the Joint Rules or the Rules Committee of the National Assembly. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Frolick. Are there any further comments on this matter, honorable members? None. Thank you very much. Honorable members, that brings us to the end of the discussion on matters arising from the cabinet, from the committee section. We then proceed to deal with the Bills Office. Report of the Bills Office by Dr. Mbata or Ms. Van Zyl.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker and Honorable members. I will report on updates that are on slides 2, 4, 5, and slide 6. The updates are on the number of bills that are on the order paper, bills that are before committees, and bills that are recently introduced. So in slide 2, the Committee on Transport reported on the Transport Tribunal Bill with amendments and also reported on the Marine Oil Pollution Preparedness Bill without amendments. And the bills are on the order paper for consideration. And again, the Committee on Communications also reported on the SA Post Bank Limited Amendment Bill with amendments. And the last bill that was reported on is the repeal of Transkeian Penal Code Bill. All 4 bills are now on the order paper for consideration. And again, Honorable Speaker, 2 bills were introduced, and these 2 bills are to be referred after the fiscal framework has been passed. And these 2 bills are the Division of Revenue Bill and the Appropriation Bill. And 2 bills were also introduced with these bills by the Minister, and which brings the total number of bills that are before committees to 28. The 2 bills that were introduced is the Second Adjustments Appropriation Bill and the ESCOM Debt Relief Bill. And the next slide, Honorable Speaker, will be slide number 4. On slide number 4, I'm reporting on a bill that has been approved by Cabinet to be introduced. Is the National Sport and Recreation Amendment Bill. On the next slide, which is slide number 5, in slide number 5, Honorable Speaker, there are 4 bills that are with the Presidency for assent. And you've already mentioned, Madam Speaker, that the Electoral Laws Bill will be passed today. And if passed, the bill will also be sent to the President for assent. And that will bring the number of bills before the President to 5. And for information purposes, the second language of this bill is Afrikaans. And the next slide, it's slide number 6. In slide number 6, Honorable Speaker, we've listed all the bills that the Minister has introduced yesterday. 2 of those bills are already before committees, and 2 of them are still to be referred, as I've already mentioned. So, Honorable Speaker, I will hand over to my colleague from Legal Services, Advocate Van der Merwe, to continue with the report. Thank you.
Thank you and good morning to the members. Good morning, Speaker. I think there's only 2 matters that I'm required to give feedback on. And as Tobile from our Bills Office has just indicated, and as Speaker, in fact, has indicated, the electoral amendment bill is before the House today for adoption. I can confirm, and Tobile actually left this out, and it's credit to them, the Bills Office has in fact already contacted the Presidency, has alerted the Presidency to the deadline that's looming, and everyone is on board. So we have done from Parliament's side what we can do. And then from our side, the Constitutional and Legal Services Office, we have made contact with the Department of Home Affairs in respect of the Marriages Bill. And the department responded and indicated that currently the bill is being consulted on a ministerial level. and they just require cabinet approval in order to publish for public inputs. So this is still the executive consultation process that's ongoing. Until they have cabinet approval to publish that bill, they cannot make it available to anyone outside of the departments. They target for this to be done by the end of February. So we will again follow up with them if we don't see anything published end of February, just to confirm by when we will be able to see the bill. But like I say, at this point in time, they have confirmed the bill is there. It is currently going through the cabinet process, awaiting approval. So there is definitely progress being made. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And please, my apologies. I note that I said Miss Van Zyl. It's Miss Van der Merwe. My sincere apologies for that. Now, that was the report from the Bill's office. Are there any comments, honorable members, or questions to the team? Honorable Hanif Hendricks, Al-Yama.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I don't want to sound like a long playing record, but I have raised the lack of progress with regard to two of my private members' bills that is ready for its first reading, but has not had its first reading in Parliament. Now, both these bills, Honourable Speaker, is as a result of a Constitutional Court judgment that the present Marriage Act is unconstitutional and the present Divorce Act is unconstitutional. Now, the reason that I submitted the private members' bills, because I don't have confidence, with all respect to the Department of Justice, that they will take seriously the judgment of the Constitutional Court. For example, it is in July that the Constitutional Court has asked for 3 or 4 amendments to be made to the Divorce Act. My private member's bill, I've engaged with the parliamentary legislative team, and they have prepared a bill that has got a certificate of compliance to comply with a Constitutional Court judgment. When I spoke to the Deputy Minister of Justice at the recent Portfolio Committee meeting, I got the impression that they've done nothing about it, that they feel that maybe the Department of Home Affairs may do something about it. But my view and the view of my legal team is that it's a responsibility of the Department of Justice to make any amends to the Divorce Act if necessary. So already 7 or 8 months has passed, and there's just over a year left to comply with the Constitutional Court judgment. It looks as if the Department of Justice is trying to find a way to circumvent the judgment of the Constitutional Court. With regard to the other act that has also got a certificate of constitutional compliance, is the registration of the Muslim marriages bill, where all we want is that Muslim wives get a marriage certificate, because without a marriage certificate, there's a lot of hardship. So that particular bill, for some reason, because of the heavy program in December, has lapsed. So we did all this hard work, Honourable Speaker, over 2 years to get these bills a certificate of compliance, meeting all the rules of Parliament. The parliamentary legislative team did tremendous work and excellent work with these 2 bills. They didn't want to wait for the Department of Justice or the presidency to comply with the order. They assisted Al-Jamaa with the private members' bills. So we need some guidance here, Honourable Speaker, because the Zondo Commission stated that it is not only the responsibility of the presidency to deal with such matters, it's the responsibility of every member of Parliament to comply with Constitutional Court judgments. So I know that the presidency and Department of Justice have got a lot of other work, But this constitutional court judgment is hanging over our heads. And in the meantime, Muslim wives are suffering. And there are unnecessary delays, and not a day must be wasted to grant dignity back to Muslim wives. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Jama, member from Al Jama, Honorable Hendricks. Honorable members, I'm going to request that this matter has been raised repeatedly, almost at every meeting by the Honorable member from Al Jama. I'm going to request that we receive next week at the meeting, at the next programming committee meeting, whenever it is, that we should get a full report about the status of these issues which he has been raising. Please, let's do that through here, through the programming committee, so that we can satisfy ourselves that work has been done. Because from what I am hearing the Honorable Hendricks saying, this matter has been dealt with by the committee, but seemingly now there isn't progress beyond that. Okay, I see the hand of Honorable Singh, but shall we please, let me request the office of the bills, both the bills office and the office of Mr. Klaso, to give us a full report next week on the status of this report. Thank you very much. We proceed.
No, thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Singh.
Yeah, no, I agree with you fully, but I would just like to suggest that the parliamentary councillor to the leader of government business also be involved. And then that all the parties that need to come together talk about this and give us a report next week, because it's difficult for us to comment on something that's not before us while we understand the frustration. Thank you, Speaker.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Singh. I think Honorable Papo is on the platform. He's listening, and Honorable Papo, you'll have to make sure that you do this consultation so that next week, next meeting, we receive a report about the status of this bill. Now, we then proceed, honorable members, if there aren't other issues in relation to the bills before us. It seems there are none, because I don't see hands on my screen. I will then invite the whip of the parliamentary program to take us through the program.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and good morning to your good self and honorable members and the collective on the platform. Thank you very much. We are, if you allow us, Honorable Speaker, that we don't go through the program line week by week, and also dealing with the framework, because that one has been done before, but allow us to give highlight in terms of those items that we feel that needs to be highlighted. Firstly, Chair, would like to state that the EFF motion of no confidence to the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Deputy Speaker has considered the matter, and we have scheduled it for, or we are suggesting, because it's a draft report that needs to be approved by this body, that let it be scheduled for the 7th of March, and it has been included accordingly, 7th of March 2023. Secondly, Chair, a motion in the name of the majority, Chief Whip of the majority party, for the revival of the requested permission to inquire into extending the subject of the cannabis for private purposes bill is scheduled for this afternoon. If permission is granted by the House, then it will be scheduled for the 28th of next week, 28th of February. We must note, Honorable Speaker, that the list of items for revival are listed in the OP, which is the order paper. We have gone through the various pieces for them to advise us which matters that they feel that we must revive, which we did indicate that at main it will be the bills, as well as the oversight reports, and also statutory appointments and other related matters. So they have, some of the committees have responded, and we have populated that one, which means then it's ongoing work that will be populated as we move along. We are also noting the comment that has made by Honorable Hendricks in terms of his private member bill, which we assume that that it was below the line. So it falls under those matters that will be revived as we move along, Honorable Speaker. I'm specifically dealing with that one, which was below the line. The third point that we'd like to talk to is highlight is the consideration of the report on electoral amendments bill that we have spoken about, which would be considered by the House this afternoon. If it gets passed by the House, then it will be sent to the President for assent. The fourth point that we'd like to highlight is the statement by the Minister of Higher Education, which is today, post-school education and training sector state of readiness for the current academic year. The allocation of time for various political parties has been circulated, and would like to assume that political parties have received that, or it will be resent just as a reminder. Which would allow the parties to respond to the minister's statement. The second last point which would like to highlight is that legislation is scheduled for, which I've just said that one, let's skip it. The mini plenaries, we are happy to say that we have received all the topics for debate for mini plenaries for next week, for the 2nd of March. We are done with the presentation. We here present the draft program of the National Assembly, and for considerations, if there are any blind spots that I might have omitted, through your permission, Honorable Speaker, would request that you allow Mr. Kaso to speak on those matters. Thank you very much, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Lisuma. Mr. Kaso, are there any matters which have not been covered by the presentation?
Madam Speaker, just to emphasize that Tuesday next week, there will be a motion that deals with all the other items that need to be revived that lapsed. But I am aware that the programming whip has been talking to various committee chairpersons. But for the information of the honorable members, next week we'll deal with those issues on Tuesday. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any? Okay. Honorable Dr. Mulder, followed by Honorable Mkalipi, and then Honorable Chief Whip of the Majority Party.
Good morning, Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. I heard the programming whip of the ANC say that the motion of no confidence in the Speaker will be debated on Tuesday, the 7th of March, if I'm not mistaken. I don't see that on the program for that day, and I would just like to have an indication where it will fit in on that day, at the beginning of the proceedings, at the end, if you could have some clarity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. The next speaker, Honorable Mkalipi.
Okay, Siyabulela Speaker, now we want to welcome the inclusion of our motion to remove you as the Speaker of this Parliament, because yesterday in the Chiefs Forum, we wanted to get a follow-up on that matter, and we were told that the Deputy Speaker is still dealing with the matter, and we were so confused. So now we are welcoming the inclusion of this item, and we welcome it. And we have to know, as Dr. Mulder is asking, where in the program, is it in the morning or in the afternoon, so we can come well prepared to remove you, Speaker of Parliament. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Mkalipi. I guess Honorable Lisuma will respond to that as to exactly what time on the 7th, but I know that I have also been informed that that motion will be on the 7th. What time? I think Honorable Lisuma may want to respond to that. Honorable Ntlangwini.
Yeah, thank you very much, Speaker. I think it needs to be truly emphasized on the program, so that when we take back this program to our caucus, we know exactly the time as to when is the motion of no confidence against you, Speaker. And then secondly, that I want to ask, Speaker, in terms of voting on the motion, are we going to have a secret ballot in terms of this motion? Because I will strongly feel that we should have
we need to do it on a secret ballot because of past victimization of members of parliament when they are not voting according to what they are enforced or forced to by the so-called party line. So I just want to find out in terms of voting, and what is is it going to be hybrid or all of us physical? Strongly feel yet again it needs to be physical because it's one of its kind of motions. It have never happened in parliament, that a motion of no confidence against a speaker. So it needs to be all of us in physical attendance in the city hall to remove you. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ntlangwini. I would not be able to respond to that one. It is the Deputy Speaker who has been written to, and definitely the Deputy Speaker will handle the matter as to whether it will be a secret ballot or a fully physical sitting or whatever. You will get that information through the Chief Whip's Forum, definitely next week. Honorable Member, Chief Whip of the Majority Party.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I'm a motion layers already. And I agree that it must reflect properly on the program. If we were discussing this matter, I don't want to compromise you, Speaker, right now, because you are presiding. I wanted to comment on the type of voting, but I will reserve my comments so that I don't compromise you. To save you, let me not comment on that. The second one that I want to check is that we were informed last night that the portfolio committee on basic education is traveling to public hearings, and therefore the item that was on the order paper on their report is no longer taking place today because they are on their way to public hearings in Limpopo. Then the other thing that I don't see, Honorable Speaker, on the program is the motion on extending the lifespan of the ad hoc committee on floods. Because we had that ad hoc committee, but now the recent floods necessitate us to come up with another motion. So I did not see that on the program. When is that scheduled for? Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Whip of the Majority Party. I see now the hand of Honorable Chief Whip of the Opposition.
No, Speaker, mine was about the voting mechanism on the motion, but I think the Honorable Chief Whip of the Majority Party has a point that the person who's presiding over the motion against you is the Deputy Speaker. So we will wait to hear from him on the details of how the voting will be done on the day. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Whip of the Opposition. Are there any further comments, honorable members, on the draft parliamentary program or any questions? Honorable Mkhali.
Yes, Speaker, and the Chief Whip of the Majority is emphasizing on the point that I made earlier on regards to Bela. And if you remember very well, no one responded on it. And when we updated about the committee section in terms of the bills that are taking place, I asked specifically about that one. I also even said, Speaker, we need to update with our members in terms of the progress of that bill, specifically and all other bills. So I will recommend, Speaker, that when the presentation or the presenter comes here, they must come with specifics, because they must take into consideration that we are not representing ourselves here. We are also representing our members, our caucuses, and we are expected to go back and guide them. Especially today, it's a day of the caucus. That is the point that I want to make. On the issue that you can't preside over the matter that is set to remove you on the 7th of March, Speaker. So on the processes, as we are saying, and the Chief Whip of the Majority saying that no, they don't want to compromise you. But the Deputy Speaker is not here to clarify some of those issues. Remember, Speaker, we need to know what are the mechanisms in terms of this item. And then my question is, are you, or is the Deputy Speaker or your office in that matter going to clarify those process those processes in terms of the letter that we written to you, and also further clarified on the Chiefs Forum next week. And we must emphasize, as Member Natasha Ntlangweni was saying, that we must not be taken into surprise on that day of the vote of no confidence against you. So can we give any information so we can know how to prepare for that day to remove you, Speaker, on Tuesday, the 7th? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mkalipi. Honorable Mkalipi, my understanding is that whenever there is a motion of no confidence, the Office of the Presiding Officers has a responsibility to inform members timeously about how the proceedings will be conducted. In this instance, in the Office of the Presiding Officers, definitely it will be the Deputy Speaker who will then inform you. The meeting of the motion of no confidence is on the 7th, and therefore by next week at the programming committee, you should get all the information. The Deputy Speaker, I will request the Deputy Speaker to avail himself to provide you with that information. Of course, there is Mr. Honorable Ntombela here, and then Mr. Kaso, they have their hands. I don't know if they would like to address this particular matter now.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good morning. No, I was just saying, Madam Speaker, the processes of Parliament, the democratic processes of Parliament, do allow parties to make such a motion. There's no problem about it. All I wanted to say is that, yes, they can bring it on. We put it on record that we will also be there to defend it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Speaker, he must not preside over this matter again because it's already biased. This one, the one that just talked now.
Okay, now, Honorable Mkalipi, please, man, raise your hand if you want to speak. Please, don't heckle on the system. It cannot be right. Honorable Buroto, followed by Honorable Lisuma, and the last hand will be that of Mr. Kaso.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you that Mr. Kaso will be coming in. In my understanding, a secret ballot is not a given in this instance, but the party has a right to request it, and that will be determined by the presiding officer responsible for whatever request that is coming. As you have already said, it is the Deputy Speaker. But to say, will it be a secret ballot or what, when it was not requested and it's not a given, is not correct. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mamoroto. You are followed by Honorable Lisuma.
Honorable Chair, because I presented the program, probably let me allow Mr. Kaso, through your permission, then if there is any other issue that I think you will omit, then you will raise it, because I was going to say that you have covered that we note the issues and also matters that are not reflected at this presented program. We will populate that one. I think the one for the day, it's an omission. We should have included it. And the other extension of floods also, it will be part of the motion that will be raised by the Chief Whip of the Majority Party for its revival. We apologize that we didn't talk to that, but we will then raise those issues. Other than that, the other parts, you have covered it in terms of the vote of no confidence to the Speaker of the National Assembly, that all issues that has been raised in this platform will be taken to the Deputy Chief Speaker's office and then communicated to the honorable members accordingly, as well as the starting time, which we take note that there should be a clarity whether it's in the morning or afternoon. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Lisuma. Mr. Kaso.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just to start with the sequence of proceedings on the 7th, but the programming whip will obviously clarify the matter and communicate to the political leadership. But in terms of the rules, Rule 47, any other formal motions would come after orders of the day. The sitting for that day is in the afternoon currently, and there are currently orders of the day on the order paper on the program. And therefore, in terms of that sequence, the motion of no confidence should come after those orders of the day. That is Rule 47. Now, in respect of the motion on the floods, we just want to clarify, Honorable Speaker, that this motion, while it is similar to the one we did last year, but it extends the scope because there have since been floods after the motion of last year. So now we'll be dealing with 7 provinces as opposed to the fewer provinces that we dealt with previously. Because of that, we have had to consult with the NCOP because it's a joint undertaking, and we will be obtaining inputs from the NCOP on the text of the motion. But the intention is that the motion be done next week. We think it will be on Tuesday next week, but I just thought I should clarify that. So it won't be a reviver, but it will be a new motion which covers the other provinces that have since been affected by the floods. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kaso. Honorable members, I don't see any other hands on my system here. And therefore that brings us to the end of the discussion on the draft parliamentary program. Are there any announcements, Mr. Kaso?
No, Madam Speaker, not from my side. Thank you.
None. Well, honorable members, thank you very much. That brings us to the end of our meeting. The meeting is adjourned until next week, Thursday.